Hey everybody, JJ here, back again with another Wednesday of Zoom networking. We have an unbelievable guest speaker for us today. Young man is a rock star. He is awesome. He's inspirational. He's a powerhouse. He's one of Pace Morby's rising superstars. You've heard me talk about Pace Morby all the time and his SubTo community. Pace is the premier expert in creative finance for real estate in the country, which means in the world. Pace Morby SubTo community is by far the best real estate education platform in the country, bar none, no exceptions. I don't care who you are. We don't have Pace Morby on today. Hopefully we'll have him soon. But our guest speaker today is my good friend, Eddy Charger. Eddy, how you doing, my friend?
Doing amazing, man. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, it's my pleasure, brother. You are I say it all the time, if we're doing this thing right, we're marketing ourselves. We don't market our business, we market ourselves. And if we're marketing ourselves properly, people will see our name and know our name before they know us. And that's the case with you. I heard Eddy Charger. Oh my God, that's a really cool name, Eddy Charger. Oh my gosh. And I saw your name, I saw your face, I saw some things you're doing before I even got a chance to know you and then got a chance to meet you. And it's my value that I put is by the people that I'm surrounding myself with. And as we talk about it all the time, our business is predicated upon the 5 people we spend most of our time with. To scale up our business, to scale up our life, we scale up our circle. That means scaling up the people that we're surrounding ourselves with. And I'm honored to call you my friend. So Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Of course. And just so that we're clear, like all those people that, we're saying good things about me. It is expensive. I do keep everybody on the payroll to keep that going and help out with my brand name. That's really the cheat code, right? Every time they say something, there's a little affiliate code that goes back to them. So it helps out. I do owe Pace a lot of money though.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, so let's rock and roll. We have investors all over the country in multiple programs and ideally watching this on YouTube or on the call today. But for those that don't know you, where are you located? What part of the country are you in?
I'm in the great state of Georgia, by way of Atlanta. I hear and I kind of hold it down for everybody that's in the Georgia market.
Yeah, you guys got a powerful community down there. You got a handful of rock stars that are coming to the top of my mind.
Yeah.
So, hey, let me ask, we met through real estate. We met through SubTo. That's our commonality. That's how we met. For you become one of the most successful, more visible people in SubTo. But is real estate, let's go back in time a little bit. Is this something you've always been into? Like, were you into this in your teens? Were your family exposed this to you? Is it something that came about in your 20s?
Yeah.
What were you doing in your teens in high school? Was it real estate? Was it sports? What was your thing?
No, man. No, that I was my first job was at a video game store. So that kind of gives you where my mindset was at, right? I was like, all right, I need to go make money, but I also need to continue my addiction of video games. So let me just merge the two. And that's where I started. My parents are West Indies, Caribbeans. They're Haitian, and I was just raised off of working hard, right? Being a first generation kid in my family, I grew up with 2 types of mindsets, right? My parents are work hard, and then you work hard some more. And it's very traditional route, right? But then I also grew up with this like whole different way of looking at things and doing things different in this American culture. And that kind of shifted things for me and allowed me to play on both sides of the fence, so to speak. But my course was just like every traditional, island kid that parents comes to the States and like, you're going to grow up and you're going to go to school and you're going to be either a doctor, an engineer, or a lawyer, right? So pick one of the 3 and go at it, right? And so that was kind of like my origin story. I ended up doing very well. I ended up going to school at Temple University. I was actually the youngest accepted student. Meanwhile, I didn't go to like an amazing school, by the way, but it was a good school. But I was the youngest student in the pharmacy department at Temple University. My first year in pre-pharm, I was already working at Temple University Hospital for pharmacy.
So in other words, you're not just good looking.
No. I got a little bit back there, right? And it was fun. Like I got into it because I thoroughly, at the time I didn't quite understand, who I was in a sense, but I do now. I loved helping people, right? And pharmacy ended up falling in that line. I was always interested in how science can, you can take a pill and someone who like needs help can get that help from what the pill does in their body. And so that was a really big thing for me, and that's kind of what steered me in that way.
So now, did you, and by the way, go Owls, Temple. But did you become a pharmacist? Was that your career path for some period of time?
Yeah, absolutely not. That definitely didn't happen. So what ended up happening is it was like during my last years or so, this young lady, well, a young lady, but she was older, came downstairs. Now, Temple University, the way it's set up is their pharmacy department is right under the hospital, which is amazing because you get like in real time type of thing, right? And this lady comes down and she's a little bit, on the older side. She actually just gone through her first sessions of chemo. And she comes in and I'm waiting on her and she hands me her script. She tells me her story because I always like hearing, talking to the people. And I go back and I'm like, oh, something must be wrong here. So I go to one of my peers and I say, hey, I'm trying to file this and it's not going through. And they're like, oh, our insurance blocked it. She can't get the medication. So now, mind you, I'm this like young kid and I'm weighing on this lady who's, could easily be my grandma. And now I have to go tell her that we can't give her medication. So her first night of chemo is about to be hell. And I go back to the head pharmacist at the time and I say, listen, is there anything we can do? Right? What's the loophole that I need to do? Can I pay for it? I just want to be able to help this lady. And he's like, this is how it works. Right? It's a game of insurance. Everybody has to make money or no one's getting help. And that completely changed everything because I realized at this point, the game isn't about medicine, it's about business.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, I want to be in a space of business where I'm actually helping people and not having my hands tied, thinking that I'm helping people. And that's when I changed course and went straight into business.
There you go. Yeah, we talk about, not in a we, but big pharma is something that gets mentioned frequently by different people around the country. It's crazy. So now, are you married? I believe you are, right? You got a family on here?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Now, did you meet your wife in your 20s, in your 30s? Were you transitioning away from pharmacy when you guys met?
No, so I met my wife when I was 8 years old, believe it or not.
Okay.
So we got one of those stories. So and coincidentally, when originally I was born and raised in New York before I moved to Philadelphia. And when I was in New York, even though our parents didn't know each other, we actually found out we lived down the street from each other. Like not down the street, but close enough where, we could have met back then. But when her parents moved to Philadelphia, we ended up living a few blocks away again. And I tease her all the time, like, your parents really was kind of like trying to groom you for me. Like everywhere I went, they just kept, making sure you were close by. But we ended up meeting there, and then she moved 2 years after and moved to Atlanta, Georgia. And she was in Atlanta the whole entire time. I never met her or saw her again until right when I was getting ready to go to college. There was like this big event at a church, and it was like nationwide. Everybody came, and just so happens that her family came, and she was there, and we met. And it was like, oh, hey, cool, nice to meet you again. But then that was pretty much it. But my mom, moms really have a hand in a lot of things, and you don't really know.
Yeah, they do.
And so, my mom was cool with their mom and everything like that. And she was like, hey, why don't you reach out to, their family? I heard, their daughter's in college already. She can kind of maybe give you some heads up on some good schools in Georgia. Now, I don't know when the conversation between my mom and me happened where I was like, yeah, I really want to move away and I want to go to school in Georgia of all places. But in her mind, it happened. And she was like, yes, this would be a good person for you to connect to. And so that's how we started just getting back in communication with each other. I came to visit Atlanta and I absolutely fell in love. It was like the next best thing without having to go all the way down to Florida. And, ever since then, we just, kept in touch and connected. And, the rest is what they call it. It's a love story, right? We end up getting married, and now I have two beautiful kids. My son is 9 years old and my daughter is 4, but more like 17, I think.
Going on 4. Yeah. Going on 5.
Yeah, it's kind of the way it works. But yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing. They're honestly, they're my treasure. They're like the biggest blessing I've ever had. Everything I do somehow stems from my family.
Excellent. So no, that's a blessing. I love kids. I don't have it of my own. I just wasn't blessed in that regard. But for years, I volunteered to coach youth baseball, and 11 and 12-year-olds have been my favorite age. I did that forever, and parents wanted me to move up as the kids did, or move down to a younger group because a younger sibling. And I stayed at that age group, and the parents would say, well, why do you not leave this age group? I said, kids are big enough to play the game and small enough to not give me any crap. But it's just a great age for coaching kids. And your son being 9, later we could talk about some tips I have on baseball. But
that would be awesome. He loves it.
Yeah, baseball. And bring him out to LA. Let's go to a Dodger game, brother. We'll make that happen too.
Yeah, no, we're definitely planning a trip. So we'll definitely talk. I want to bring the whole fam out there. I plan on coming out there just to come hang out with you guys. And there's a bunch of people in the community out there that I want to rock with and just hang out. And I also want to bring the family for a separate trip where it's just less work, more play.
Well, if you come out after September, my new house should be done. And I plan on having a networking event with all the guest speakers from SubTo coming out to California at one time. And it's going to be a rock star event. But
awesome. Let's do it.
We'll talk about that later. So now, at what point in time did you find your way into real estate, and how did you get there? Was it SubTo right away? Did something lead into it?
No.
Who introduced you to your real estate venture?
So I got started in real estate just because I started different businesses. I had some family businesses. My cousin and I went to businesses, and I've done a lot of things. I had a landscaping company that did very well. I had a computer business that did very well. And then I got into network marketing. And I did really, really good there, right? And then I made enough money where it was like, okay, what do rich people do when they make a lot of money? And it was like, okay, well, either they invested in real estate or stocks. I was like, oh, let's go do stocks. That sounds good. I can do stocks. So I got into stocks, and I still have the picture. I gotta find it. My wife has it, of me just sitting, and I put 10,000 hours in trying to figure it out because I didn't trust anybody with my money, right? This is hard-earned money. So I learned options and got into it, and I killed it. I mean, you would have thought I was a golden child. It was such a great time, right? And then it just went horrible. Like the complete 180 of everything that I succeeded happened. And I was like, I don't think this is how I want to invest it, right? Like the whole goal was to be able to invest it, put into something that made more money over time. And so I didn't like the up and down that I was getting as results in the market. So I was like, well, let me put it into something else. I come back to stocks. What else can I put it into? And I was like, let's get into real estate. And I just so happened to go to where everybody goes to, YouTube. And at the time, Max Maxwell, who's a good friend of mine now, was putting out tons of content. And he was like the only one at the time. And he was getting ready to do his first event. And so I was like, this is going to be great. Let me go to this event in North Carolina. I know nobody. Let me just go, right? And so I risked it all on myself, went there. And because of that one event, I ended up meeting my business partner, who later on we ended up joining forces, got into real estate, wholesale, and everything blew up from there. But how did I get into SubTo? Follows this lineage. I mean, let me break it down. So I learned about wholesaling through Max. Because I learned about wholesaling, I figured I found Sean Terry, who had a guest on his show, Tom Kroll, who then I ended up finding out who Tom Kroll and his brother. And that's when I was like, oh, I'm doing this. I'm killing this now. If Tom Kroll is doing this, I am killing this. And that's no shade to Tom Kroll, but it just goes to show you how good of a job he did of explaining how simple wholesaling is and how you can do it. And from Tom Cole, I learned about a real estate agent who was on his podcast named Brent Daniels. So I joined TTP. From Brent Daniels, I learned about Steve Tran. From Steve Tran, I learned about Jamil Danji, joined Astro Flipping. And then, of course, there's no way I'm not going to meet the best friend. I learned Pace Morby. And I remember the day like yesterday, I was coming from the bank because we were getting ready. We were doing well in our wholesaling company. It was like, hey, we should probably start buying some properties and holding them. I was like, okay, well, let's go to the bank and let's kind of see, you know, what they would offer us. And I remember I had like back in the day, they used to give you like a folder with like all these different information stuff and things like that. And I remember it was like 3 or something like that in the afternoon. And I got a message from Pace and it's like, hey, I just brought 4 properties, no money down. And I was like, first of all, what the hell are you doing? And I think it's time I join you. And second, I was like, why didn't you text me at like 9 o'clock? Like my whole Friday now is gone because I've been visiting bank after bank, trying to figure out how I can get more money loaned to us. And lo and behold, I had a friend that was buying properties, no money down. And I joined SubTo, I don't know, within like the first 3 months that it started. And then, you know, I never looked back. In fact, this house that I'm talking and doing this whole thing in now was one of the first properties that I brought, and I brought it up too.
Wow, that's fantastic. So now, are you part of the first wave? Did you get in pretty early, or
yeah, I got in. I got in pretty early. Like when I got in, Pace was like everything we have now didn't exist. So to kind of give you guys like what early looks like, it was here's the Zoom link. You would log in early in the morning, and Pace would literally be on there all day. And when I mean all day, it's literally all day. And he would just be teaching you what to go do. Then we would go do it, and we would like get stuck. And he would say, come back onto the Zoom, and he would tell us what to do next. And if we got to a point where like we just couldn't handle whatever it is the seller was telling us, he would just call our seller live on the Zoom. That's the infrastructure and how SubTo started. That's the beginning of SubTo, and it flourished into. I think we're just now about to hit 10,000 members, which is crazy.
Yeah, when I started about a year and a half ago, like about 1,200, and to see 10,000, the growth has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your topic today. Your topic is leveraging SubTo to build your rental portfolio.
Absolutely, yeah.
You become a rock star. I mean, you're renowned. You're like Eddy the man, Eddy Charger. So yeah, and I think you've got. I think on the call today we have one of the people from SubTo who you're actually working with as well. But do you want to touch on your topic first, and then we can bring the other individual on in a minute?
Yeah, for sure. So first thing is, I think everybody needs to rethink of the word leverage, because not everybody looks at it the same way. And some people have a negative connotation towards it, which is understandable because you might have gotten leveraged, right? And truth of the matter is you got used, right? Or you got taken advantage of. But the true definition of leveraging, especially when it comes to relationships, is where both parties end up winning, right? If you're in a relationship right now, you leverage. Do not get it twisted. Like my wife and I, this is going to sound, now that I'm thinking about it, it's going to sound dirtier than it is, but I promise you I'm being PG. My wife and I, we leverage each other all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, she needs this, or she requires this, or she wants this, and I provide it because that's what she's looking for. And then vice versa, she helps me out on certain things. Like, for example, right now, I'm on this podcast with you guys, and I'm leveraging her ability to be able to safely take care of my kids while I'm down here, right? It's a relationship thing. Every single relationship that you have, you leverage it, whether it's a personal or business, or you leverage your kids' teachers, right? Good and well they're not learning all 6 to 8 hours that they're in school. It's part-time babysit, part-time. This is where you can get some things done. So it's all part of the game if you can do it correctly. And then again, the best way to know if you're doing it correctly is the other person using me to get towards whatever goal that they have? And am I allowed to use them, to leverage them, whether it's their time, their money, their mindset, their support emotionally or whatever, right? Are they able to leverage me? If it's not working both ways, you're in an abusive relationship. You should probably get out of that, but that's what leveraging means. And so for me, when I got into SubTo, I understood one thing. My goals are really, really big. They're scary big, right? And I think everybody should have those scary big goals. But if you aren't willing to leverage other people, you will never accomplish your goals. I'm telling you that right now. I don't care if it's, I want to get, 2 houses, or I want to do one wholesale. Like, you will never accomplish your goals at the speed and the rate that you need to, or you should, if you're not willing to leverage other people and allow them to leverage you. And that's what I think I've done very, very well within the SubTo community. That's got me to the point where, I'm making a little bit of noise, right? And that part is great, but the best part is the people that I'm able to help because of that. And also I'm ticking out the boxes of my goal, which is why we got started in the first place.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. That's excellent. I say it all the time, and everybody does, real estate's a relationship business. And, one of my favorite quotes is, don't chase the deal, chase a relationship.
Yep.
Because that's the foundation of what this is all about. Well, you brought somebody on to join us today. Shall we bring this wonderful person on with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got the star of the show podcast titled What the Effie. Effie is an amazing individual. I met her through our SubTo community, and we were able to build a relationship, which is the first part of leveraging. I think I should probably be responsible and explain, like, the first part of leveraging relationships is to first build the relationship.
Exactly.
Right? And so that's one of the things that Effie and I did. Like, we kind of just spoke and hit it off, and I immediately fell in love with who she was as a person. And even if we didn't do any business together, I wanted her to be part of whatever it is that I'm doing, and I want to be part of whatever she's doing. And it just so happens that we like each other enough to want to do business, which is how leveraging should work.
Let's bring her on.
Yeah, let's bring her on. Effie and I have been planning for a couple of different things, and some of it was social media, some of it was different things, and now we're moving into the space where we're getting ready to do a bunch of deals together, which is pretty cool.
Well, she's now on the call. Effie, well, welcome to our podcast, our Zoom call. How are you?
I'm good. And I fully agree with what Eddy has been saying, and also what you were saying, JJ, about chasing the relationship and not chasing the deal. Because I think that the more you get to know people, and over time, and not just about the business, but about them as people, the more you realize whether you want to continue bringing them into your life or not. Because not everybody is a great person, meaning we have to watch out. We do have some people in the group that we want to be careful of. So I don't, I very much enjoy getting to know people, and a little by little and over time. And at the beginning, I didn't have any choice. I mean, I'm that way by nature because I was a teacher. I do enjoy getting to know people very much, but I was in Canada, so I couldn't do anything. It was during COVID, so I couldn't set up anything. I had to wait to get my entities started, my bank account started, and everything else. So one thing I could do was to get to know people. So I spent a lot of time doing that. And I enjoy it fully. And that's where I also realized that not all people are people you want to trust.
Exactly.
And then once I came down to the States, I think Eddy and I met at the Golden
Ticket. Yeah.
The very first one. So I came from Canada to Chicago, my daughter's home. I dropped off my luggage and my cat. And the next morning I got on another plane and went to Phoenix. And that's where I met all the people that I had only been seeing on Zooms.
There you go.
It was really overwhelming. It was really overwhelming. I felt like a blubbering idiot. My mouth was down here the whole time because they were like, I could really touch them and I could really see them and hear them and smell them. And, it was just like, it was hard. It was hard to believe it was real.
Now, Effie, you're referring to the SubTo community, that part of the, yeah, because for those that don't know, the golden ticket is one of Pace's earlier. Well, why don't you tell for folks that are watching on YouTube, what was the golden ticket? Because now it's moved into a mastermind kind of a thing, but you want to
he's actually going to start doing them again. I think he decided that he would choose at random, I think, sort of, but it was based on whatever criteria he used, and you had to want to go. A golden ticket, which would mean that you could go to this event. That was a couple of days in Tempe, in the offices. It was like a mastermind, but really more about just networking and getting to know and to listen and to meet. So that's what it was. And he was going to have only one, and then he decided to have two, and he's had 3 or 4. There are events he puts on from time to time, and they're awesome. They're not quite as academic as masterminds. Masterminds, he does a lot more active teaching and assessing of your business and your mindset and all that sort of thing. So it's a little bit different. And of course the mastermind is pretty expensive, whereas the golden ticket, the ticket itself was free. So you pay your airfare and your stay, but you wouldn't be paying for the
same fees. Yeah.
So it was a little bit more entertaining, more relaxed.
Cool.
And that's where I met Eddy. And I thought it was very interesting because he got up and he told us the importance of holding regional meetings and about how important it is to just be at the front. And I have no intentions of staying in Chicago. It's not my kind of place. I'm only here, I promised her I'd stay for 1 to 2 years. And then I'm going to be going to California, to the Monterey Peninsula. That's where I want to live.
Beautiful area. I was up there last year. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I have still been a little hesitant about starting any kind of a meetup in Chicago because by the time I get it going, I got to be leaving. So I have mixed feelings about that. But what I did do is I did start the SubTo Canucks group. And I also have spent a lot of time with newbies, answering their questions and connecting with them and giving them any kind of direction that I can. And also was trying to make this a reality for me, because while I was in Canada, I hadn't done anything, couldn't do anything. So since I came down, I got busy on trying to build the asset, the beginning of the portfolio, and also the lending. And I was in Gator before I was in SubTo.
Wow, you're covering all the bases.
I didn't know about SubTo. I just came in contact with Pace through Gator. And then it took me about 2 weeks of him mumbling SubTo. I was like, what's that? And then I was like, oh, I got to get over to SubTo. It's about SubTo. So I have now done a number of lends, a few lends, and one of them is to Pace and Abraham during their deal or no deal program, which is awesome. And I've also I'm in the midst of doing my first deal with a SubTo student here in Indiana. And over time, when Eddy was one of the first that said, you have to do a podcast. I mean, forget about the name, first there was no name. There was just this concept of doing a podcast. And I was like, no, but I do over time, even if it's something.
It was more than just, no, it was a lot of pulling involved.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Now we're talking about your recent podcast.
Yes, I mean, I hadn't done anything. But I've done a lot of Zooms. I've done Zooms with 5-6 people, a lot of one-on-ones, a lot of couples, like if people ask to meet me. So say, Stacy, yes, I would love to chat with you. I usually find the time, so because I've met fantastic people. And if I hadn't been willing to do that, then I wouldn't have met them.
Yeah.
So, and I'm still looking. Eddy says to leverage people. You say chase the relationship, not the deal. I feel the same way that I cannot do what I want to do as one individual. Even with the people that I know and that I connect with, it's not enough. I need to be able to, I'm going to be using the joint venture model. And so when Eddy and I are working together, we'll be joint venturing in many ways to multiply myself, because I can't do more than one person can do it. But if I have 10 people and they're all doing different things and I'm doing things with each one of them, now I can start to magnify my efforts. Because like yourself, JJ, I was lucky in being left a little bit of money. I don't know how much you've been left, and I guess it's probably a whole lot more than me, but it doesn't matter. You and I have both been very, very lucky to be left anything. And as far as I'm concerned, I could take that money and just go, kind of find a place in Monterey County and be very happy, because it's a beautiful place. But since I've met Pace, I want to take that and I want to not just 10x it. I want to blow it way out. I intend to work very, very hard, for probably until I die. And it's not for me, because I don't need that much.
Yeah.
It's so that I can set up a trust, and so that I can make it possible for future generations to have opportunities, and to help people that I meet along the way.
Effie, I so resonate with what you're saying. I've been fortunate to some extent. My dad started investing in commercial property in Los Angeles in the 70s when it was very affordable, and people didn't understand that. But, my thing, when I was introduced to SubTo, my dad had passed away. I was managing the family properties. My mom was about to be diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And I realized that whatever might come my way, I wanted to do my family justice in making my nest egg grow and not just live off of it. And, one of my favorite ways to give back, there's a nonprofit for underprivileged kids in my community that I ask everybody in my group to donate towards if they find any value. But I wanted to tie this, kind of back into what you're saying about people, not just joint venturing, but the people that we do business with. And one of the things I always say, for those that are watching on YouTube, you guys are on the call right now have heard me say this before, but I'll buy a house from anyone if the numbers make sense. I'll sell a property to anyone whose money clears escrow. But if I'm going to joint venture with someone, be it a private money lender, allow them to be mine, financially jump into bed with somebody, I need to know they have the character and the integrity of someone that I would invite into my home to sit with my grandkids and my grandparents, my parents, my kids, the people that are closest to me, because those are the only kind of people that I want to do business with. And as Effie, you're saying, we've got some, you're never going to grow from 1,200 to 10,000 and not get a fox in the hen house.
I call them snakes in the grass.
Yeah. There's, exactly.
Many idioms.
So while you guys are talking about that, right, I want to kind of point something out to everybody. When I first connected with Effie, not the first initial contact, right, but the second, definitely about a third, what she told you guys is all the same information that I was able to extract from her. That's the information I wanted to know. Why were you doing this? Right? I've had conversations with JJ where he's told me that exact same thing that he just told you guys. Like, this is why I'm involved. if you have people that you're looking to leverage in order to build your portfolio, you have to first know what is it they're doing this for. You cannot get into the space of private money or even JVing with anybody if you don't have a full understanding of what is it that this person is looking to do, why they're looking to do it. So I'm giving you guys the keys right now. When you're talking to somebody, this is what you first want to do. The first initial conversation should not be about business.
Never.
Your first conversation that you're talking, you're looking to leverage somebody and leverage the relationship in SubTo, it should be about getting to know the person. If you see me in SubTo, there are plenty of times that you'll see where I'm just like, hey, let's connect. Hey, tell me what time works for you. Let's connect. It's a 15-minute call that I'm doing with people. We're not going into any deals. Half of the time, I don't even have my computer up. This is strictly over the phone. I just want to know who this person is. And I'm more interested in finding out who they are than for them to even ask me questions. I really want to know, who these people are and what is it that they're going after. Why did you follow Pace? Why are you in SubTo? Why are you in real estate? Right? I need to know those whys. And the reason why you need to know those questions answered is because I need to figure out if I can take Effie's goals and can I make that my own? If you're not willing to look the person in the face and say, hey, I'm willing to help you accomplish this goal. I desperately want to get you to that special place with your family as much or even more than my goal that I want for my family, then you should not be doing this. You cannot leverage relationships. You definitely cannot be doing private money lending with anybody because you aren't in the right space. Now, I'm not saying you'll never get there, but for right now, this isn't where you need to be because you're solely focused on your goal, which is fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But understand, what I'm teaching you is how to leverage relationships. And what I'm teaching you is how to be able to leverage the community in order for you to be able to get things done, how to build your rental portfolio. And it doesn't matter if you want to do rentals, if you want to do multifamily, if you want to do development. The end goal could be whatever you want it to be, right? You can leverage relationships just to wholesale more deals. Absolutely fine. For what we're trying to do, what I'm trying to do, no, we're not trying. What we're doing is we're leveraging to build our rental portfolio. And I'll tell you why. I've noticed that is a big issue inside the SubTo community. And I'm going to tell you guys what it is. People that join SubTo either have wholesaling experience or maybe they didn't, but they see people winning all the time. And they think, oh, okay, perfect. I'm about to, I'm going to wholesale 10 SubTo deals a month. And then I'm probably going to keep 2 a month for myself. And then they get this like very rude awakening of what reality it is to be in business for yourself and even how it works when you're doing creative deals. Creative deals come less as far as how frequent they come than regular wholesale transactions, which means if you don't have the right expectations, you're going to struggle. I don't care if you join SubTo or not, you will struggle because your expectations are wrong. So one of the things that I am working on and helping people understand is, hey, listen, don't wait forever. Don't be my story. Do not wait forever for you to start buying rental properties. You should be able to get yourself wholesaling, get yourself quickly to a goal that you set. Hey, I want to wholesale 10 deals. Perfect. Wholesale those 10 deals and now start saying to yourself, I want to keep 1 deal for myself. I don't care if you suck at management. I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what the scenario is. You can hire help for all of that other stuff. But you need to set it up where your rental portfolio is bringing you at least $5,000 a month. I mean, out of all the people that's here right now, if you had $5,000 passive that was coming to you, net, okay, all of the expenses are paid. $5,000 was coming to you every month. straight rental. You're not doing any of the work because you have your team that's taking care of property management and et cetera, et cetera. How different would your life be right now? To say that it's life-changing would be so minuscule, because that would be generational. Because of the amount of time that you now have to be able to give to your kids, the amount of time that you now have to be able to pour into your spouse, support your friends, travel, right? All these different type of things, you now have the ability to do it. And so one of the things that we're doing and how this whole thing has come together is building these relationships so that you can find out what this person is going after, what is it that they want to be able to do, and then take your method. So mine right now is affordable housing. It's a major, major issue in nationwide, but especially in Atlanta. And people think affordable housing means low income, and it does not. Okay. 1/3 of the population in the United States cannot afford regular rent. Let me let that sink in. 1/3 of the whole entire population, all of the people that you know that are like your teachers, your waiters, your drivers, all those individuals can't afford regular rent in Atlanta. I'm just going to talk about Atlanta right now, but I'm sure I can throw a dart on a map. In Atlanta, a 1-bedroom studio is $1,800 a month. If you make anything around the $15, $16, $17, $18 an hour, you can't afford rent. You will not get approved. Okay. That's needing affordable housing. All right. And what I've been able to do is take my passion that I'm working on helping to solve that problem, or at least put a dent in it. Right. And I'm pairing that with the goals of Effie, the goals of JJ, the goals of myself. And now we're leveraging the relationships, we're leveraging capital, we're leveraging time to be able to buy assets. And what we're doing is we're buying these properties creatively, of course, right? And then our exit strategy is not just regular rental. We're doing it more so on the affordable housing side. So you guys might have seen me do some things with Pad Split, Section 8. These are bringing in a lot more capital than the traditional, $200 a month, $400 a month, and allows for you to be able to build closer and closer or faster to that $5,000 a month. That's what it should be about, right? Again, reach out to the person, connect with them, find out if you even like them, right? Yeah. You know how they say not all money is good money? Not all relationships is good relationships, right? See how they are in the Facebook group. What type of comments are they making? Like, are they connecting with, other people and et cetera, right? Do you like this person? Cool, I like him. Now find out about, hey, what made you join? What got you started? What are you really after? Okay. Now, once you have that, now you can start saying, okay, well, here's an exit. If you don't have an exit, if you don't have a way to be able to help them, that's perfectly okay, because the word of the day is leverage. You can leverage my exit. You can leverage Pace's exit. You can leverage anyone that has shown a proven method of how to make money, right? You can leverage that in order to be able to help this person accomplish their goal. And now the crazy thing is, you heard I never brought this up yet, but by default, my goal gets accomplished. My goal of $5,000 a month coming in automatically happens, right? Henry Ford said it the best. Jim Rohn talked about it. He's one of my favorite teachers ever. He said it the best. If you help enough people get what they want in life, there is nothing that you want or desire that you cannot accomplish or have.
Tamara, you are on with Eddy and Effie. What's your question?
Oh, nice to see you guys. Thank you so much for coming on. This has been fantastic.
Absolutely.
I'll only ask one so I could share with everyone else, but I had a couple different things. I guess looking back, for those of us who are kind of, you're maybe, 10 to 25 steps ahead of us, going back, if you were to start all over again, looking back at how you started versus what you know now, what is the main one or two things you guys would do differently if you had to start all over with SubTo?
Okay. Effie, I'll let you take it first.
The only
Ladies
thing
first.
I would have done differently is I may not have joined Gator. I may have joined just SubTo because SubTo has so much in it, and people are PMLs in SubTo, and Pace is bringing the Gator stuff into SubTo, even though it's much later. So I probably would have just gone straight into SubTo. The issue of doing things differently, because I was forced to wait because of the COVID and the border, it was a blessing in disguise because a lot of people, especially in Gator, got going quickly and they lost money. And I was forced to only do what I could, which was to get to know people. And I realized that is what is bringing people to me. That is what, how I'm going to grow my business is through relationships. So I wouldn't change that at all now, even though then I was like, dang, I want to get going.
Yeah, it's like a thoroughbred or itching to get out of the gates, right?
Eddy, do you want to add something to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So mine is a little bit different, believe it or not. I would have started in Gator first.
Interesting.
I would have started in Gator first. And here's why I say that. Because now I would have started in Gator first and I would have ran with it. I would have acted like there's nothing else in the world. There's just Gator. And the reason why I say that is twofold, because first and foremost, when you get into SubTo, I always say that SubTo has anybody here been to Vegas before? SubTo is like Vegas to me.
Yeah.
Right? Like you get in SubTo and it's just like, oh my gosh, like I want to do everything. Right. And most people don't understand, like it's Pace's job to be able to showcase all the different ways you can make money in real estate. The problem is he's so good at doing it that you're like, you know what? I want to get into sober living next week. You know what's a good idea? Multifamily. That sounds great. And now you're like this, like, you know, it's like going to squirrel. You're in Vegas. You want to play every game, but you know, there's people that go to Vegas that lose money religiously, right? And then there's people that go to Vegas and it's a profession for them. They're professional poker players. They come in, they don't even go. You know, like when I went to Vegas, I got off the plane. I didn't even make it to the casino. I was at the airport and I got distracted. Okay. There's people that come into Vegas, head straight to the hotels. They don't even check in. They go straight to the poker table. They get in there, they kick ass, and then they leave. And they make millions of dollars a year. What's the difference between the two? They're only focused on one thing. They've learned to master that one thing. Now they could play the other games, but they learned to master that one thing because they're only one person. Pace, on the other hand, Pace is a unicorn. Right? Pace is my guy. That's like my true blood brother. We talk on the phone, text, and everything like that. He's an amazing human being. But you also understand Pace has a team of like, I don't know, it's like 35, 40 people right now that takes care of all of the things that we're trying to juggle. Right. And so and the other thing too is, remember, Pace had 17 years in real estate before SubTo even was a brainchild. So imagine you coming in here and you're like, you know what? Let's get this going, right? No, it's not going to work that way, right? So for me, and I'm not saying that don't join SubTo or anything like that. Again, I think one of the number one things you can have is proper expectations, right? Now, why I say Gator first is because I had very successful individuals tell me something. And ever since then, it changed my life. It said, if they had to start over again, they would have learned how to be able to get to the money. They would have learned how to raise private money first. They would have learned how to get capital first. And then they would have learned how to identify a deal. If you learn how to raise money, if you learn how to leverage money like in Gator, whether it's you're using the bank's money or somebody else's money to complete a deal and make it happen and get returns. If you learn how to do that, and you learn how to identify a deal, there isn't any room on God's green earth that you can't walk in and be part of it.
That's awesome.
Everybody always wants the person that can bring the money to the table. Hands down. And if you know how to identify a deal, then you're even better, because you don't want the other problem. You have money, but you don't know what, if a good deal smacks you in the face, you won't know who did it, right? You don't want that. So if I had to do it over again, I would still join SubTo, but I would be very focused on, how do I become the person that can raise private money, or how do I become the person that knows the person who can raise private money? Because that person is going to be well connected. They can solve a lot of problems. That's who I want to be or be connected to. And so that's what I would have done different outside of what I'm talking about right now, which is get yourself an investment property, right? The interest rates that we're buying properties at Creative right now, it doesn't make sense for you not to buy. I think everyone that's listening to this right now, your goal should be in the next 2 years, 10 properties. If you get yourself 10 properties, especially the exit strategy that we have, you can easily retire and you can easily make six figures. I mean, within every 30 days, hands down. And this, I'm not saying this by like in theory, this is things that's already been tested, which is now why, I reached out to Effie, like, hey, we're ready. Let's go. I reached out to Jay-Z not too long ago, like, hey, we're ready. Like the thing I was talking about is it's good to go now. Right. So you want to do the same thing.
I so appreciate you reaching out, and definitely that's something that I'm looking to have us do. But I also want to say that I totally agree with Effie about what she says about meeting the people and networking. One of the things that I've tried to do when I got into SubTo, I wasn't ready, but I saw the value in SubTo, and I knew that if I didn't get in then, the price was going to go up. And what did it do? It went up, and it's actually gone up again since then. And like Effie, for certain things, dealing with, my mother's passing and splitting a portfolio and attorneys and appraisers, I wasn't ready, and I'm just now still squaring up some things, putting my structure together, my entities, and I'm just now about ready to get going. But what I have been doing, like Effie said, is in this time that from when I got in, is I've been setting up my network. I've been building my visibility. I've been marketing myself. And that's what puts you in the position to have relationships with people like Effie Colbines and Eddy Charger. That Effie's got her YouTube channel now. She's got an Instagram for her YouTube channel. And you don't need to wait for and Effie said she didn't wait, she just did it. She pulled the trigger. And it's
I got pushed.
Yeah. And so, I would say, one of the things I see, and that's the whole purpose of my networking group, is what am I doing? I'm helping new students to understand how to network, because you can't do this by yourself. How do you market yourself? How do you squeeze the juice from the orange? What is the orange? It's your educational community. So that's, to me, that's just as important as the curriculum. I had a new student tell me once, I don't want to start networking. I don't want to get my business going first. I was like, okay, let me get this straight. You're going to get your business going, but then you've got no one to network with. Effie said so many things during the course of this podcast and before we got recording that I just agree with. And Effie, I'm thrilled to see that we're of a like mind. I'm looking forward to us developing more of a friendship, as well as getting you on as a guest speaker. But I think Effie was so on. And then also with Eddy, learning about private money, learning about funding. And again, it's knowing who has the money, and that goes into networking and building relationships. That's the core of everything. And I just wanted to tie it kind of back into that. So
absolutely.
Did we answer your question there, Tamara?
Yes, more than answered questions. And of course I have a gazillion follow-up, but I will let someone else.
What's your follow-up?
Well, that was really, there was a couple of fascinating comments that you made regarding, how you would, I was just taking notes fast and furiously, and you talked about first, learn about identifying the deal. And I was like, okay, well, for those who are, so now you're also at, okay, now where would you go? Where's the best place? And is that just maybe digging deep into PACE's training on how do you get really good at identifying the deal? Because now we're trying to place both of those. Where's the money? Get the money and be good at getting the money, and then also be good at identifying and making sure it's a deal. And how do you get really good at that?
Okay, I'm so glad that you asked this question, because this is really good. So remember, the word of the day is leverage, right? A lot of times what happens is we think, and this is because this is how we were taught in school. So this isn't anybody's fault, but this is how we were taught in school. We were taught that you can't get the answers from somebody else, right? If you get the answer from somebody else, that's called what?
Cheating.
It's cheating, right? If you peek over to somebody else and somebody is letting you see their paper, I mean, I'll be the first to admit, I've done I'm not cheating. I just so happen to have my finished test at the corner closer to where my friend is sitting, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's called cheating still, right? But as an adult, you understand and you start to realize, like, in order to grow, that's what leverage is called. So I don't have to know all the answers. So right now, if you're in a situation where you know nothing, you don't know how to raise money, you don't know how to identify a deal, your sole job should be, who can I connect with? Who does JJ know that knows how to raise money well? Who does JJ know that knows how to identify a good deal? Who does Effie know? Any of these individuals here that have their phone numbers. This is why JJ tells you to put the number up. You should be connecting with these individuals, find out, what do they do? Hey, here's what I do. I always ask this question. Who are you? Why haven't we made money together? I ask them, what is your superpower? So, like, what are you, like, really good at? Like, you could do this in your sleep. You know what I mean? Like, if I called you at 3 a.m. and said, hey, I got a hot deal, can you underwrite it for me? With you, only with one eye open, you could be like, hey, give me the numbers. That's your superpower, right? And then fourth thing I always ask is, what are you looking for? Like, what's the thing that you, like, if I can only solve one problem for you, what would that problem be? Right? And now you end up being everybody's favorite, a matchmaker. Because now when I know the information that I need to be able to reach back out to you and say, hey, T, remember you told me you needed help finding someone who knows how to identify a deal? Well, I was talking to Norm. He's a great guy. We got a chance to connect. Turns out he's really good at underwriting, and he's looking to find people who have more deals. I would love to make that connection, or I would love to work with you. You can do it either or, right? And now you've put yourself in a position where even if you don't have the skill, you have access to the person with the skill, and you can leverage that.
I totally agree with Eddie. I totally agree. I think it goes a little bit to the comment that JJ made about the person who wanted to start their business before they started connecting. If you get to know who is good at what, then you will be able to get that answer. I've gone to Eddie and said, Eddie, I need to comp this, and I'm not sure how. What do you think? And looked at numbers. And I've taken it to other people, said, okay, so this is a deal. I want to make it a better deal. Where would you work it? I don't need to know everything all at once. I just need to know who does know. The deal that I'm, my very first asset deal, the gentleman I'm working with in Indiana, and now here's the relationship part, right? I've known him for a good 10 months, and we had tried to do a few deals together that had fallen through. Many, many deals go just to the end, and then they fall through. Mm-hmm. And that's why Eddie said, you have to know this is going to take a lot longer. When you're doing wholesaling and things like that, it takes longer to get to where you need to be, but keep going, get the leads and keep going. So I already told you, trusted this person, liked this person, knew what his strengths were. And he said, Effie, I think I see a deal that we could work together. And I said, okay, tell me about it. He says, but I'm stuck because I don't know how to stop an auction. do you know? And I said, don't worry about me knowing. Just know that I'll get the answer. And he said, okay, I'm coming up. He was coming up with his wife to meet me, to help me on another property I was looking at. And I posted right away in SubTo, who knows how to stop an auction? And immediately people started answering. And I think they started answering because that's the community. But I also think most of those people knew me. You know, they knew who I was. So they started giving answers, and I started getting, DMing people and phoning and that sort of thing. And when he walked into my house, I didn't even get, for the first time, didn't even get a chance to give him a hug or meet his wife. I just literally was saying, he was like, so did you get anyone? And I said, yes, here they are. and the guy just went step by step by step. And his name is Steve, the gentleman I'm working with, was listening, and he said, okay, I got that, I got this, I got that. And the next day he stopped that auction 10 minutes before
Nice.
it was going to go. So the point that I think Eddy's making, and that I'm totally trying to underline, is you don't need to know everything. You just need to start building relationships and know who does know those things.
Exactly.
And don't go with just like one, oh, I know one underwriter. No, you need to have a lot, because that one could be busy, and build relationships with all of them. And what are they particularly good at underwriting? So knowing all of that is building a business. It's building a network. And it's based on getting to know about their family, about them as people. It's not just the numbers, just the business.
Yep.
Giselle, again, I'm loving Effie every minute, every sentence she says. I'm loving her more and more. But one of the things to say is, you don't market your business, you market yourself. You need to let people know who you are. And the more visible you are in the community, the more people are going to know your name before they know you. When they know your name before they know you, your name becomes your brand. As you become visible, as you become well known, when you then start to not ask for help, but reach out to get to know people, they'll be more receptive of knowing you because you're visible. Effie's very visible on SubTo. Eddy's visible. I'm visible. I'll talk to people that are joining my group, and be, oh yeah, I've been watching your YouTube, or I've been seeing your contributions to the community. But what that is marketing ourselves. And through marketing ourselves, people become aware of who we are. And just like Jersey Shore, American Idol, The Bachelor, all these shows, Farmer Has a Wife, whatever they happen to be, when you market yourself to the community, people then become very willing, not open, but willing and desirable to help you.
JJ, let me jump in on the back of that, because
sure.
I feel like what's going on through people's head, not everyone, but some people like, oh, geez, like I got to talk to people. You know what I mean? And I get that, right? Because even though I kind of gave you the game plan, it's like, okay, but how do I go about doing it? So I want to kind of point that out a little bit. I think one of the benefits of SubTo is that SubTo to me is a cheat code, right? Because literally anything that you have a question on or you want or whatever, you can get the answer. More importantly, you can find the right people. So let's just say, for example, if I wanted to, I could literally, and I'm almost positive you can do this in JJ's community as well. I can go in and I could type in underwriter as a search in the group. And every time somebody typed in the word underwriter, it's going to pop up. Now, primarily what's going to happen is you're going to see somebody says, I need a underwriter. And you're not going to pay attention to that one. You're going to pay attention to all the comments of people that said, hey, I can help you. I'm great at underwriting, et cetera, et cetera. And now what you do is you click on their names or you find their phone number and you shoot them a text message. Hey, I'm Eddy from Atlanta. I saw your information on a post about you being an underwriter. I would love 5 minutes of your time to just connect with you and see if there's any deals or things like that we can do together. If you do that for 10 people, I promise you 5 will say yes. Not even 10%. I'm talking about 5 will say yes with a time, a calendar link or something. And now you didn't have to do the extra work, right? You don't have to put out a post and say, hey, I'm new, or hey, let me reintroduce myself. If you feel uncomfortable doing that, then do it the other way. See who already posted, who's already said, hey, I am, and reach out to those individuals. They already proved to you that they're friendly. So you're not going to have any issues of like, well, I didn't know who to reach out to. No. The network, like JJ said, the network, that's where your future is. That's where your goals get solved. It's all in your network and you have access to it. I can almost guarantee you on this group right here, the individuals that are on here, that the right person that you're looking for to solve the problem that you currently have is either A, on this Zoom call, or B, know a person personally that is on this Zoom call. Exactly. Not even 6 degrees separation. There's an actual theory called 6 degrees separation. Oh. I'm not even talking about 6 degrees of separation. I'm talking about A or B. Your answer is right here. Right? But you gotta do the extra steps, right? You gotta leverage. You gotta be okay with leveraging because, again, like what I'm doing with JJ, Effie, a couple of my other friends, we're leveraging these relationships that we've built to be able to solve problems, real world problems. And as a result of solving that problem, we've now helped the person that's lending money or looking at JV or want a partnership or whatever the scenario may be. And in return, because we've gave so much value, because we solved so much problems, we're able to get what we want. The last thing to kind of drive that home, Coca-Cola is established here in Atlanta, Georgia, one of their main offices here in Georgia. I forgot the guy's name, but the president at the time, he got a yearly salary of like $62 million. Wow. And at the time, it was wild because people were just upset. How could one man make 62? There's companies that don't make $62 million, right? And this obviously had got back to them somehow, and somebody came in front of him and asked him a question. Do you know you make too much money? You make $62 million, and there's people out here who don't make money at all. And his response was so profound. He said, I can understand why you think that's a lot of money. But as one man, you have to ask yourself this question. I made $62 million, which is a small, very small percentage of how much value I made Coca-Cola last year, who made $300 billion because of me. So when you look at it that way, you're like, oh yeah, you know what? 62 is not that big of a number anymore. Like I kind of get it, right? It's the same thing. If you come out with the mindset of, I'm going to build relationships. I'm going to leverage these relationships and I'm going to help them make $300 million. You'll be making $62 million within that same year. Yeah. And hopefully you get me like a Chick-fil-A coupon or something, you know what I mean? Just something to give back. You know, I think that'd be fair. But yeah, that's how you got to go about it.
Now, Eddie, I want to throw one last thing on that. We're going to move on to another question. About the whole scenario, one of my favorite quotes from ours: networking leads to visibility, and visibility leads to opportunity. And, you know, by being visible, people know who you are and they'll help you. So, so what do you think of the answer? You good with that, Tom?
Oh my gosh, more than hello. That was gold. That was gold. Thank you.
I'd like to add one very last thing, if I may, also, sure. Eddy and JJ, and that is, I don't think you need to worry about the visibility as much if you are willing to simply connect with people and see how you can help them. Okay. In other words, when people reach out, okay. So by the way, guys, I'm going to give you my 2 cents. You know, on text or on DM, don't do that. Hi. I mean, really? Or hi, beautiful. It's like delete. You know, do what most of you would do naturally. But if this doesn't come naturally, speak to them as if you were meeting them, you know, for the very first time. Hi, my name's Effie, and I saw that you had just posted about this. And I too am in Chicago or wherever you are. I'd love to connect with you if you have time. I appreciate what you do. Thank you for reading this. Say something. When people reach out to me, I know that it's not easy to do that. I know. So it weighs heavily on me when I get DMs or texts or things of that sort, because I don't want them to feel ignored. Pace says, give. So by simply responding and trying to make the time, and when I do get to meet them, I like to ask, Pace's famous question, what do you have? Like, what's your background? Tell me about yourself. And what do you need? And am I in a position to do it? Give it to them? Not often, but I can know who is. And I can listen to them. I can articulate, help them to, say it in a way that's clear. So by simply being willing to help, other people say I'm nice. Actually, I'm a witch. I'm not nice, but I give them time and I give them the answers that I have. In other words, I am who I am. But because I'm willing to try, I think that's what people like, and that's what people need. And that's a value. That's a true value, because now they feel welcome. Now they feel like they can ask someone. So do that. You can all do that. And that will help you to become better connected.
And again, Effie again is so right. One of the things I talk about in the group all the time is a lot of people, I'll just say, aren't using Facebook properly. And a lot of the younger kids are like, well, I've been using it since junior high school. I know how to use Facebook. But using it in junior high school and using it as a business tool are two different things. And it's using Facebook, understanding it from the standpoint of business communication, interpersonal relations. I say it all the time, and it goes hand in hand with what Effie just said, is that if you're getting, like I say, if you're going to send a friend request, don't just send a friend request, maybe a wave or something, but send a message, introduce yourself. Hi, my name is, I'm from this place. I saw you here. I'm also in SubTo, identify your commonality. I also go so far as to say, I'd love to talk and get to know you sometime. Can we talk on the phone? Here's my number. Can I have your number? If that person, not only will they most likely accept your friend request, they're probably going to give you their phone number or their calendar link, and you're going to be on the phone with them because you're properly introducing yourself, which is so key. This morning, the last 5 days, I've had like anywhere from 60 to 70 anonymous friend requests. Some of them are wearing SubTo hats, but I know that if I accept these friend requests, I'll never hear from them. They'll never comment. They'll never post. They'll never like. They'll never engage. And then my friends list gets filled up full of people bringing no value. So I kind of try to go through those and reach back out. As Effie says, I reach back out and say, how can I help you? Can we get connected? And, I probably spend more time networking and more time interacting to build my relationships and on my business. But in the end, I'm building the base and foundation of my business. So with that, we're going to move on to one more quick last question. Tamar, thank you so much, my dear. Giselle Flores, you are on with Effie and Eddy. What's your question?
Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for inviting me, letting me join this meeting. I'm so happy to be here. It's my first time, and I'm already getting so much value.
Awesome. Hey, Giselle.
Hi. Thank you so much for everything you have shared. A lot of great tips for me as I'm starting my journey. But I was mostly more towards how do I organize myself as I start building my business? Because I've been a lot with the shiny objects, but now that I'm trying to focus more on okay, what are the tasks that I want to prioritize, where I want to do the marketing? I want to build my foundation. I want to, network. I want to work on tasks that I know that are going to build up to later on in the future, get me where I want to go.
Yeah. No, great question. And I got you. So I think you got to start at the beginning. So what is it that you want to do?
Primarily, I joined Gator.
Okay.
So I wanted to start with Gator lending.
Okay. Got you. So you're in Gator, you're not in SubTo, but are you doing any real estate?
I am working with two SubTo leaders where they are wholesaling creatively, and
Okay.
I'm doing the outreach right now.
Okay. So you're doing the Asian outreach. Okay, perfect. Have you gone through Pace's avatar training yet?
I have been listening to the podcast. Yes.
Okay. So have you been able to
not the training.
Well, yeah, he has it on YouTube too. Have you been able to identify like what your avatar is, do you think?
Right now, I think one of them is connector.
Oh,
like
awesome.
Talking to people and like, oh, I know this person can do this, so let me reach out to them and see if they will be open to working with me, or like to connect with somebody else that I know they're doing something that they're looking for.
Perfect.
And also helping in any way I can. I think that's because since I'm like building my skill set in real estate, there's things that I still don't know how to do, but I want to, like, as I helped, I've noticed that I'm learning a lot of things.
So wait, is that both of your avatars, connector and helper?
Yeah, as of right now, yes.
My gosh. You hit the jackpot. Connector, in my honest opinion, connector and helper is the two most powerful avatars you can have, especially if you're just getting started. Because and I'll share with you why. Immediately, it takes away the responsibility that you would normally need to have if you actually had another skill set. So, for example, if your avatar was a closer, okay, you need to be a closer, right? Because if you start coming out here and say, "Hey, everybody, I'm a closer. I would love to help," and people, you know, they when you say you're a closer, they expect you to be batting 100%, right? Because you said you were a closer. So I called you with my seller. I didn't even do a good job, right? I just said, "Hey, here's my seller," and now you're trying to tap dance and work miracles and magic and this, that, and third, and it doesn't happen. Now it's like, "Oh, I thought you was a closer," right? It's a difference there because you have to perform. Being a helper and a connector tells me that naturally that's who you are. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. Naturally, you like to help people.
Yes.
Right? You naturally connect people. Let me ask you, this is going to sound weird. I was going to say, do you have a family? But are you like married or in a relationship or anything like that?
Yes, I'm married. Just got married in March.
Oh, hey, congrats. Nice. Okay. So let me ask you this about yourself. Are you or your like are you the person in your family that kind of like everybody, you know, they normally come over or they normally call you, or like when people have a problem, are they reaching out to you or are they coming over to your house?
Yeah, mostly. Yeah, my siblings. I'm the one, like even my parents, just to like, hey, help me out with your siblings because I'm the oldest.
Yeah. Yes, that's and so for me, for example, I'm not the oldest, but my older brother, he's like 10 years older than me. So he left the house at a very, very young age. And I became the oldest for a long period of time, right? By the time he was in college, I just started high school. So I became the oldest. So a lot of that also fell on me, where I became that person in my family, which is why I'm a really good connector and I'm a really good helper. So this is something that comes naturally for us. We didn't have to learn this. And this is why I'm saying, like, you are in the most amazing position right now, because now what I would be spending my time with is building the relationships. You've already made the right connections where you're calling out to agents. So you're building a skill. So take some of your day to be building the skill. Take the other part of your day to be building relationships. And I would suggest building relationships with everybody, not just people that you think is going to be able to lend money as a Gator, right? And here's why I say that. For example, JJ said something early in the podcast. He mentioned when he first got started, there was like 1,100 or 2,000 some odd people, okay? There are 8,000 more people that joined the community before JJ. Now, Gator is the same way, okay? When I joined Gator day one, all right? Gator right now is blowing up and it's only going to get bigger and bigger. Which means you could do the same exact thing in Gator. Okay.
Yeah, they're over 4,000 already.
It's 4,000. See, that is ridiculous. I didn't know that. That is ridiculous. So you could do the same exact thing in Gator. And this is what I'm saying. When you have new people that join and say, hey, I'm new, I'm blah, 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 blah. Never dismiss the new people.
Oh, no.
I have so many people so many people I know dismiss the new people, and they don't understand these individuals sometimes are just walking in with lump sum of money. They just want to be part of a community so that they can connect with people in order to lend it. Right. So you have all the resources. I think, again, I need to get a shirt at this point, right, that says leverage and just like hieroglyphics or like maybe bedazzle or something. I don't know. But I think that's what you should be doing. I think you should be spending your time doing what you do to earn income, which is what it sounds like you're working with the other SubTo students for a direct to agent. Spend half of your time connecting with people. And I would make a goal for yourself. All right. I would make a goal to connect with 5 to 10 people a day. If 10 is too much, cut it down to 5. Right. Doesn't need to be long conversations. You want to do 15-minute conversations with one person. And this is just the preliminary. So I'm just trying to get to know you. Hey, how you doing? Right. If you feel like, hey, I don't have nothing to say, ask my 4 questions. This is the charger 4 questions. Right. I stole it from Pace. I think it sounds better as the charger 4 questions than the Pace questions. Right. So, ask those questions. Who are you? Why haven't we made money together? I think that's a really good question. Never skip over that one, because they're gonna be like, well, I don't know you. Oh, I'm glad we're talking. Now that we know each other, why haven't we made money together, right? What's your superpower? And if I can solve one problem for you right now, what would that problem be? How can I provide help? Even if it's not me and it's someone that I know, I can refer them to you so that you can get that problem solved. Those 4 questions can take 15 minutes. And now what I do is if you want, you can use a Google spreadsheet, or you can use this software out there, something called clay.com, which is basically just an organizer for people that you connected with. And it gives you dates where you can call these people back automatically.
Oh, nice.
Just so you can keep organized, right? And so again, spend time in your day working. You got to make money, right? Spend time in your day connecting to new people, and then spend time in your day working on Gator, right? You need to make sure that you're educating yourself. I'll put the link in the chat for everybody. But you need to spend time educating yourself on how to do Gator deals correctly, and all the stuff that involves, because now once you do have those relationships, you got to be the one to provide the results. Yeah. And if you remember, I said, raise the money, being able to know where the money is at, and then being able to know how to identify a deal. That's the 2 key most important things if you're solely doing Gator.
Eddy, did you say that software was called Clay?
So the website, I believe, is it clayearth.com?
Clayearth.com.
Yeah. Super easy, simple to use. It automatically connects with your phone contacts, your emails. It's an amazing piece of software that you can download for free. You can use it on your desktop. You can have it on your phone. The benefit is, for example, if I just met JJ today, I can put in all the details. It will tell me, hey, it's been a month since you spoke with JJ last. You should probably reach out. If JJ had a birthday, it would tell me JJ's birthday just passed. He posted on his Facebook account about the trip he went to for his birthday. So now when I call JJ, guess what I'm saying? Or I'm going to shoot JJ a text message. JJ, you look like you was having such a great time on your trip. Let's connect again. Just wanted to say hello. Right? Leveraging relationships. Say it again.
Is it free?
It is a free software. Yep.
Thanks.
Leveraging relationships is about building and leveraging relationships. There's no way around it, right?
Exactly.
And a lot of times people think like, oh, well, that's going to take so long. Yeah. So
relationships take time.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So you should get started then. Right. Mm-hmm. Because no one is going to lend you money that just met you and don't know you. right? Like even Pace. Pace is this, amazing person. People, if you go back to, how long people have been connected with Pace. So there's something happening on a psychological level that most people don't see. So Pace put out so much content that you think you know Pace before you even think about lending to him, because you've seen him so many times, you've listened to him. You've been on the 24-hour Zoom, you've been on the 16-hour Zoom. Like, this guy, right? So subconsciously, you feel way more comfortable lending on a deal with somebody that you know and trust, as opposed to this guy named Eddy, who you met last week at the bus station, and he was telling you about, oh, I do Gator, and you thought he was weird because you was like, what does that even mean? It's a whole different thing. Mm. Does that make sense? So like, did you, because I can't really tell you how to break down your day, because also I don't know like what other responsibilities you have. But as far as like priorities, as business goes, like that's where I would be with it. That's what I would recommend.
Thank you so much. And yeah, it does. I think it's just clarifying what the big goals are in my business right now, and then bringing them down to, okay, these are the things that I'm going to focus every day to make sure I get closer to that bigger goal.
Yeah. And so that's why I asked you first, what was your goal? You mentioned Gator. So your goals should be centered around some sort of achievement that you want for yourself as a Gator. Mm-hmm. It should not be anything else. You should just have the one goal. Right? Focus on the one thing. Once you check that off, then let's add another goal to it. Okay. Right? But you want to focus on one thing. Now that's not to say like stop doing the director agent. That's a different thing. That's what you do for money. The Gator is is the skill you are learning to master.
There you go.
Does that make sense?
Effie, I want to thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I want to catch up with you on the phone. Maybe we'll do a one-on-one Zoom and love to get you on the guest speaker schedule. But again, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Brother, I just want to thank you for being here today. Tons of friggin' value. People say, how long is the call? I said, as long as we're dropping gold nuggets, I'm going to keep it going. So we had one of the longer calls today, but I also think I love the content, and I love what you and Effie were sharing. It was wonderful. Thank you so much for bringing Effie on. It was really great for me, and I'm sure everybody else benefited as well.
Absolutely. She's like my rock star. So, if she let me, I'll take her everywhere with me.
There you go.
Careful what you wish for.
we might do a little show called Effie and Eddy. We'll see how that goes. That might be.
It's got a ring to it.
It got a nice ring to it, right?
One of the things I say all the time is that my group's a networking group, and I talk, and we've talked about this all day long here about relationships. But my question, and I'll ask it anyway, is whether someone's a new investor and they're new to SubTo or any other community, they're part of a Facebook group, or they're a seasoned investor coming in now to one of these SubTo or other groups that has a Facebook page, whether they're new or experienced coming to the social media platform to start, grow, or continue their business. Not only just the education from a group's Facebook page, but what is the importance? I know we've hit it all day long, but what is the importance of networking to build one's business in a nutshell? And I'll add to that, joining a group like mine, where we focus on the networking aspect.
Yeah, I mean, networking is everything. Like literally, it is everything. If you bring up anything that is positive, anything that's had any significance in this world, it doesn't happen without networking. I mean, Jesus Christ built one of the largest religions because he networked, right? Pace built something amazing because he networked. Like, we all here have the opportunity to accomplish our goals because we're networking in a community that JJ decided to build because it wasn't available before, right? And so networking is the key to your success. There's this saying, if you consider yourself a leader and you turn around and nobody is following you, that's because you haven't given anything back. You haven't poured into anyone where they feel like, oh, this person's going to be there, I'm going to show up, which means if you think you're a leader and you're walking, nobody's following you, you're just going for a walk, right? You have to put yourself in a mindset of giving and pouring into other people. One of my favorite books is The Go Giver. I have it right up here. I would start with that book. That will open up your hearts and your minds to what it truly means to give back. If you're religious or even if you're not, the Bible, the book of Proverbs is amazing on that. Like, we're just talking about principles that you need to follow in order to accomplish success. Every team has it. Every successful business has it. Every successful family has it. JJ is proving it here with his group that he created. If you do not learn how to network, you will die alone, and you will die with 98% of your dreams and goals not accomplished. And that's just a sad way to live life.
Yeah, you are so right. And the two phrases is your network is your net worth, and this is not real estate. It's not something we can do by ourselves. So, hey, Eddy, on closing out, if people want to follow up with you, what's the best way? Is it Instagram, Snapchat, MySpace, TikTok?
Yeah. So you can follow me on all platforms as my name, Eddy Charger. That's EDDY Charger, CHARGER. You can also follow me on YouTube. My channel is the same thing, Eddy Charger. I'll put that in the chat as well. EDDY Charger. I think it's important to make sure that I put myself out there because I want people to reach out to me, right? I am very different on how I view things and how I do things. I consider myself just a regular person that is just looking to connect with more people so we can all win together. And so I'm very accessible, right? If somebody want to reach me, you can DM me. You can hit me up on Facebook. Facebook's a little bit hard because I just learned that there's a spam section in Facebook. This was crazy, JJ. When I got on, you were teaching stuff, and I was just like, I didn't know you can do that on Facebook. So, I tell people all the time, if you reach out to me on Facebook and these things, definitely, do so. But on IG, I definitely respond faster if you hit me up. And then if you're on the Zoom call, I put my number in my name. I just put my number in the chat. Definitely reach out. Let's connect. I would love to be able to see what you're about, what you need. If it's partnering with building your, $5K a month passive on the rental side with affordable housing, perfect. Let's do it. If it's, you want to team up, you want to JV on deals, I still have my investment company. We still do tons of deals there. Or I know a lot of people have been asking me like, hey, do you have like a coaching program and stuff? I currently do not. And I know I need to, but the problem is I can't do it because I don't have enough time. Yeah. Like if I'm going to do it, I need to pour 100% into it. And I don't have the time right now to do so. So I'm not going to take on any coaching or mentorship, but I do allow people to come into my office, my virtual office that I have. My whole team is in there. I have a earn while you learn, which basically means, if you say, hey, I want to learn how to cold call better, or how do I talk to agents, or how do I comp a deal? Like I'll teach you those things, but I also feel guilty if I'm just teaching you. So why not you do it in a real life scenario? Like I'll give you a deal, you comp it. I'll teach you how to talk to an agent, call the agent. Let's get this thing on the contract. Let's close it. And then I'll pay you commission. Like why not earn while you're learning, right? And I think that's way better than me charging you whatever amount of number and saying, hey, buy my course, or here's my one-on-one mentorship that, is just not going to work. Now, when I do have that time, then, I'll make it available, and I'll probably make it hella expensive on purpose. Right. Like I'm saying it because I want to deter people from not paying and instead go network. Right. Go do the earn while you learn program instead. Go find some of the other things that, will allow you to leverage and build the relationships. Leverage me. Right. But if you want the one-on-one, then I'm going to give you every single thing that I got, and you will be successful. We will hit your goals, but you're going to pay for it, because I know for a fact you're not going to just spend X amount of dollars and just let that go to the wayside. You're going to be ready to put in work. And for people like that, I'm ready to go to war for it, right? Because I know what that feels like. You know what I mean? ACE mentorship was the biggest mentorship I've ever had made an expense on. And I think that was part of the reason why I was like, let's go to work, right? It wasn't, $100, $200, $300. It was like, hey, I just sent you the money. Where's the link? That's literally the first thing that I said. Hey, I just sent the money over. Where's the link? And this wasn't the pace. It was a team. But it was because I knew that once I made that commitment, I was fully committed, right? And if I'm going to pour into people, I want you to be fully committed, because I'm going to go to bat for you, and it's going to be a wild ride, and I love it.
Fantastic. Eddy, thank you so much. Hey, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, please like Eddy's presentation. Please put some comments down in the chat or in the comment section below, and please support what we're doing on Flip Side Up with JJ. If you guys are on the call right now, hang on. We're gonna get into a little bit of networking as soon as we end the recording. Eddy, want to thank you again for being on with us today, and I will be connecting with you and Effie later on. I think you guys were outstanding today. I want to thank you so much for being with us.
Not a problem. Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Okay, over now.
Bye, guys.